Hi guys! Welcome to Leadership in Changing Times. Recall that this is part 3 of a 3-part series. The first one is on lessons learned in leadership. The second one is on leaders as coaches. And this is the third. No? Today we'll talk about how leaders can still provide direction to their people despite the environment becoming to be volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We'll learn how to reframe VUCA into a better situation, not only for leaders, but also for the people that we lead. So stay tuned, let's learn together, and continue to discover our most empowered self.
Leadership in changing times, no? And if we would move into the question that was presented or given to me, the question which is, how can I help my team survive and thrive in changing times? So ito talagang we're moving closer to the pandemic situation that we're in. Remember earlier, we said we have lessons learned in leadership, no? It's a VUCA environment, no? We use coaching. In fact, we teach them and share with them the adaptive way of coaching and handling situation. And then we move them into this change, no? But before I answer this question, JV, let's step back a little. I tried to look at change from an organizational perspective and individual perspective. So instead of doing this in a single slide, there would be 2 slides in organizational level. So let me explain to you my thoughts on the first 3 steps before I go into the last 3 steps in organizational level change. Every change starts with a vision of where we want to move the organization, where we want to move our team, no, or where we want to move our career. Could also be personal to us. That particular vision, we concretize certain strategies and plans, no? You make the strategies more workable, no? You call it plans. More detailed, you call it plans. Before, when I do this, I don't put iterative process. But now, because of VUCA times, I always see 2 and 3 as an iterative process. And what do I mean by that? The people, the process, the technology will be there. But because of VUCA times, sometimes the plans in terms of metrics of success and in terms of capability build that the organization or the individual may need, no, may tweak a little. So it becomes an iterative process. Hindi siya, I've set the strategies to move this organization in this vision, and then that's it. No? If we would move to the second part of the organizational level, kadugtong po ito, after understanding the plan, no, laying down the plan, we then go into organizational and role or position redesign. No? That's how we go through this. Move this, if we remember, strategy drives structure. So una ang strategiya, bago ang organizational structure. We don't start change with moving boxes in the org chart. No, keep that in mind, guys. And then we move into talent selection. Why? Because organization and role design drives talent strategy or talent selection. No, in so doing, after having thought of that, we now move into what are the KPIs, KRAs in each and every person's performance plans. Well, how will accountabilities be cleared? What is the RASI of this organization interdependence? No? What ways of working? Some organization calls it norms. What would be our ways of working in this organization? Thus, clarity in that decision. Go back to the previous slide, please. Clarity clarity in that decision is very important, no? So this particular 4, 5, 6, I also made it an iterative process, primarily because sometimes the organization and role changes so rapidly. So the one down says, bakit po sa amin buwan-buwan na iiba yung org chart? Yan. So bakit po sa amin yung leader ko, every time na lang po iniiba yung assignment ko, no? Why does that happen, no? So I can only surmise two things. The first one, the plans are not that strong or not being updated, yung step number 3. Or, and this is the common mistake that we organization people fall into, the talent selection, no? The organization and role design is anchored on the current talents that they have, which is wrong. It's very tempting, but I will tell you already, that is not sustainable. And I've seen a lot of organizations have so much change, have change fatigue, simply because the organization that they craft is not based on strategy, rather it is anchored on the competence of talents that they have that time. So when the talent goes, the entire organization collapses. So this is very important for me to share from an organizational level. So if this is the organizational level, what happens now to the individual? No? What does the individual, at the individual level, what happens? How will they experience it? This is an old model. This is not, there is nothing new in the Kubler-Ross change curve, no? That any change that the individual experience starts with stunned paralysis or shock and moves them into the change curve from denial, frustration, depression, experimenting, decision-making, and integration. Any person undergoing change should go through that. The only difference is the pace. How quickly can they move into that particular curve? Now, if we would superimpose, what exactly would the leader have to do in this particular individual level? If we can, what would the leader, how will the leader respond, no, in this change? The leader then can do creative alignment when the person or the people are into the denial phase. When they can do maximizing communication and sparking, inspiring for results when people are in the frustration or depression phase. Between depression and experimenting, a pivot can happen. A pivot in the individual can happen between depression and experimenting. And the leader now can develop new capabilities and share knowledge to create that new communities of learning. No? If I would juxtapose this or superimpose this with VUCA, creating an alignment is about volatility. That's very important to address volatility in VUCA. Minimizing communication and sparking motivation, no? You try to allow or address the uncertainty and the C in VUCA, no? The uncertainty and the complexity that is happening inside the organization by both communication. No, you can never over communicate in a changing environment, and inspiring and motivating. The last two, developing capability and sharing knowledge, actually addresses the ambiguity. You try to hook them and anchor them and give them that particular self-confidence, no? So from creating alignment to sharing knowledge, no, you try to involve them in experimenting so that there is ownership in the new beginning. You try to build confidence in them that they can now make new decisions, no? And eventually, you try to aim for performance and re-engagement in the integration. So it's important for any HR practitioner, or any leader for that matter, to have an understanding if at the organizational level, this is what is happening. At the individual level, my people, including myself, no, may be experiencing this. So I wanted to step back a little so that all of us is in a common understanding of how change, no, can happen, and how, so that we can help our people better thrive in changing times. And I will still bring this to VUCA. This will still be about VUCA. If we would look at it, no, but we needed to reframe VUCA. The original volatility can be a vision. Keep to your goal. Delays are not derailment of our ambitions. Understand, communicate, and connect. As mentioned earlier, we can never over-communicate in changing time. We've got to connect. And when I say connect, it's not about a technical connection, no? It's not about connectivity. It's about having real conversation when and where it matters with your people. Clarity from what we said, the uncertainty, then clarity. Keep things simple. If there's any single responsibility of the leader in changing times, this is so important. Keep things simple. Magulo po ang VUCA. So allow them to present to them things in a more palatable way, in a simple way, in more simpler way. And then aim for agility versus ambiguity. Resilient, have your people become resilient enough to always test and learn. Never be afraid to commit mistakes because you have set the environment. You have set the condition for them to be agile and to learn. This is not my number 5 is not part of VUCA, but I think this is very helpful for me. Get ready to disrupt yourself as a leader. Get ready to disrupt yourself. Whatever helped you in your past life, maybe it's no longer applicable. Be open. What else can be done? What else can you learn? And if your people sees that, you would see your people will equally be open to disrupting their own selves. No. Now, let me go back to the change question. How can I help my team survive and thrive in changing times? It's still VUCA for me. Anchor them and hook them with a vision. Allow them to understand, clarify things for them. Keep it simple. And when I say understanding, use the what, so what, now what. Allow them to understand. You can never fully understand things that is happening in a VUCA environment. But through the small steps of what, so what, now what, people are able to move into small actions that they can chew, and they can create small wins and aim for agility, aim for a test and learn attitude, aim for resiliency. That, I think, would help us in changing time. And if we would move to the next one, I think we're ready for our next Q&A. Asktinasioson.
Don't share this video. At least, not yet. If you truly find value and you learned something from it, just identify one leader who can benefit from it. No? Share it with this leader. Put your personal note. And in so doing, join me as we develop and build a community of better leaders for the next generation to come. Thank you, everyone.